Hey everyone, this is Shag. Today, the whatever day of Shaggmas, we will be investigating Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles by request of somebody. Starting with the GameCube one. Now, I will not be doing a full Let's Play of this because that would be silly. Instead, I will be doing, well, let's compare and contrast the first Crystal Chronicles and the Wii one, Echoes of Time, not the Crystal Barrows. I haven't played that. So, also not the DS one, because I don't own that one. But anyway, let's see where my save file happens to be, if indeed I have one, because it's been a while. What do we got? We got third year, second year, random Silky, random Lilty. Excellent. I think I'll go with this one. And who is my character? Pastel. Okay. One of the many names I have to use for characters, usually that are female, which I seem to do a lot. Okay, let's see. Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube is a game that I rather enjoy, but I've never been able to get very far in. Or, well, yeah, I've never been able to get very far in it. It has pretty graphics, and pretty music, and the graphics include Selkies having jiggle physics, but that's not important. First we have to figure out where the crap we're going. That's a river. Okay. What's over here? GameCube Crystal Chronicles has a rather obnoxious map system. You have to have the proper element to be able to pass miasma streams, and you have to figure out where things go, and it differs depending on year. And it's annoying, and I don't like it. Not really. So let's try to figure out where we are. Hello, a river. Can I procure passage across your shores to the other side of your shores by paying money to a guy? Probably. There's a guy. The other side, please. 50 gil per my one head. I really like the soundtrack in this game, actually. So much so that I did actually purchase it once. It's pretty weird. That's kind of unusual. I'd say that the Echoes of Time has a decent soundtrack too, but it doesn't really compare to the original. You know, I probably could have swam across that. So screw you, Lilty man. You and your charging me money for a service. Capitalist. Where are we now? We're on the other side. Music in this is pretty relaxing. I don't think I would be entirely opposed to doing a Let's Play of this, if I, knew it better. Are we on the side with my favorite level yet? Where is my favorite level? I think it is up from here. Sup, city? I'm ignoring you. In Echoes of Time, there's only one city. To the right, you'll see Goblin Wall, the most ungodly, terrible dungeon I've ever seen. I think we have the proper element to pass here. Goblin Wall is, I like to call it, if your television is not bright enough, you will not know where you are going wall. Also known as but it's passable, I suppose. Now this is just really cool. Miasma streams sort of make up for their obnoxiousness by being really cool. And there's random swords stuck in the side of a cliff that's in the middle of a foggy, deathful abyss. I don't know what's going on. I think I have to proceed right, or left rather. Let's see if I can manage to proceed left. The world map system really does make this game kind of obnoxious. Water. There's definitely oh no! A story event out of nowhere! Meet Obnoxiousness Part 2. The random story events. This is kind of cool, actually, until they start repeating themselves. We've caught a great many monsters today. I think you've seen this story event before, Pastel. So have a chunk of gold. Okay, sure, random, great. Despite the randomness, you need to amass as many of those story events as possible because the end boss arbitrarily relies on them, I think. Can I get a water element here? Yes, I can. The elements are made a little more passable because, well, as you've seen, any level that contains an element that doesn't have a refreshed, whatever it is, tree thing, it's been a while. You can just go take the element. No problem. Works well. Also, you may have seen Stiltskin back there. He is the best Moogle ever, which is definitely another plus. Speaking of Moogles, once I actually get into a level, I'll have to have a little Moogle buddy carry around this chalice so that I don't die of poison fog. That's a pain in the tail. Ah, here we go, my favorite level in the entire game. Violus Sluice. I seem to have already beaten it in the past 3 years of cycling, but we're gonna do it anyway. I just love the music and the environment here. I'm not quite sure why. I guess we don't get to see the little intro that Crystal Chronicles did, where you get a little bit of a anecdote, usually, and a pleasant voice. It's kind of a nice touch. Treasure chests. Now then, Crystal Chronicles, while having flashier graphics and probably better music, has a much less awesome combat system. Basically, you got your combos. You can defend, or, well, you get a defend command depending on your race, and you get to assign things to your action palette, if you will. I have a Blizzard Ring, which allows me to cast Blizzard without having to find an annoying Blizzard Orb, because in this one you have to find spells before you can use them. In Echoes of Time, however, you can use all the spells, you just have to gain the ability to chain them together. You can also charge up for a focus attack, which is the specialty of the Selkie Rays. It's pretty interesting that they use rackets in this one, and then Echoes of Time, they've figured out what bows are. You suck, Toad. Stone of Blizzard. Now we have to open the menu. Phoenix sounds are good to keep around, just to, okay, I didn't realize I got a Stone of Cure, but Stones of Cure basically make things trivial. I think there's a Cure Ring you can get eventually, and that makes things even more trivial. Blizzara! Yes! But our magic is not that great. One thing this one has that's kind of weird, also, is food tastes. Foods do different things. Let's gorge ourselves! If you continue to eat everything you find, you'll eventually like everything passably, which is kind of interesting. I believe Selkies are fond of meat. That's a scroll for vague ladies' accessories. I'm not going to touch that. This one has a lot of extra stuff that made it kind of interesting. Let's see, artifacts, you get those after you clear a dungeon, and you can boost your stats with them. Meanwhile, Echoes of Time has levels like a more traditional and reasonable RPG. Treasures shows the artifacts you found so far. Money gets its own separate menu for some reason. You got your foods, you get letters from your family. It's a bunch of cool stuff, I guess, but I don't know. Echoes of Time simpled it down. That doesn't make sense, but it made it more reasonable. Speaking of unreasonable, the most infamous part of this game is probably how the multiplayer works. You have to have a Game Boy Advance link cable, and you have to connect it to your Game Boy Advance, and you connect the cable to the GameCube, And you can't play multiplayer unless you have at least 2 of these setups. Preferably 4 for maximum players. I played it with 3 once. It was chaotic and we all died. Echoes of Time, meanwhile, has Wi-Fi, which unfortunately is pretty laggy, but it's kind of fun still. Now, where the heck are we going? Because I do not remember this game at all. Was I over here just now? Probably. Selkie was the first race I played as when I played this game. That's about it, all I have to say about that, except that I used the male one. I'm not quite sure why. Let's demonstrate spells.